question, impromptu.
They had to work it. Like, we look back on peasants and be like, damn, you had to do that. Like, they're going to look back on workers and be like, damn, you had to do that.
Well, here's an impromptu question because I actually think it's a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
What would you choose as your number one with a bullet? Let's say maybe just even 100 years from now in the future. What is the one thing they're going to look back and be like, wow, they really did that? Like, I get that they're like not as modern, but like kind of the way we look back at slavery. Like, that they were still doing that. What do you think is the thing they're going to look at?
This might be a socialisty answer, but I really think it's true. I really think it's true. They're going to look back and be like, damn, most people, most of the time, spent most of their waking life toiling to make somebody else rich. Like, you went into a shitty job that you fucking hate. Like, think about a civilization post-work. They've been completely liberated from all forms of toil. They have their full lives to do whatever they want, and then probably maximize through science, technology, and medicine to have like healthier lives, longer lasting lives, right? So they're going to think they lived shorter lives, shittier lives, less healthy lives, and they had to clock in and clock out for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. Some people in many parts of the world work much longer than even that. They're going to look back and be like that, like the way we look back and see slavery, you know, not to compare the things morally.
We whites have it way harder.
With hindsight, wage slavery is a type of slavery. It's a little bit more humanizing than, you know, actual whip and chain slavery. But I think they're going to look back and see the toil of slaves, of peasants, and of workers as this horrific fucking thing that they thank God that they were born after the era of toil. You know, like a post-scarcity, post-toil era. They're going to look back and be like, damn, you guys barely had lives at all.
Was not aware we were recording Rev Left this time. So.
Well, it's true.
No.
Historical materialism.
True. My thing is,
yep.
Any hunger or starvation, like I know that it's much, much less, but that any happened at all because the fact is we do not and have not for a long time had a food shortage problem.
Absolutely.
Like, we're going to look back and be like, something as simple as, like, they had enough food. And people were dying of not having enough food. Yeah. They have more than enough food. They'll look at the landfills, like, of just, like, look how fucking stupid these people are. There's just, like, giant, like, mountain ranges of spoiled, thrown-out food, and people were dying on this same planet of starvation. We're a bunch of idiots. By the way, we're all, like, fucked up from porn and stuff, so we're kind of crazy anyways. But
No, yeah, I mean, also the climatic situation, like where climate change
Speaking of porn.
and ecological disaster is going, and then eventually if humans survive, we will have to like totally reorient our relationship to the natural world, so they'll look back and be like how stupid and short-sighted we were, how much we extracted and took from the earth without giving back. This period of time, you know, we could call it capitalism, where it's just like this insane amount of growth and consumption, but we're still very immature as a species. You know, it's like it's like if you hit the lottery when you were 18, the stupid shit you do. That's where we are as a species. We have to mature and wise up, but we haven't yet. And if we survive, if we don't fucking drive our car off a fucking thing because we're racing our friend or whatever we do at 18 with way too much money, if we survive, then we'll look back and see this is a time where we exploded forward in capacity as a species, but we're still radically held back by fundamental immaturity.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, I think that'll be a huge thing they see.
Dude, you know what's a crazy sort of just like very depressing thing that I've experienced is that. So I've been reading a bunch of National Geographics. That's why I brought it up earlier, so I could plug my book that's not going to be out anytime soon. But anyways, I've been reading a bunch of National Geographics, and the saddening thing is like some of them go back. They're really fascinating. Go back as far as like the late 80s, like issues I read, and the 90s, like all, dude, in decade after decade, it's just like, you know, they talk about climate change, like destroying whatever sort of species this is, or this climate, or this forest, and they're just like, it's always some scientist where they end the quote is just like, humans need to answer the bell, or, you know, the bell tolls, or whatever. They use some like poetic phrase. It's 1980 they said that, and then the 1990 they'll be like, it's gone too far to where there's no way we can ignore it anymore. Then in 2000, it's just like this scientist just like, okay, seriously, guys. You know?
But like reactionaries and conspiracy theorists and people that deny all that stuff, they'll be like, see, they've been saying this shit since the 70s. Like, fuck it, we're fine.
Yeah.
It's like, no, the fuck, we're not.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Just, I mean, when did the fact that what is your marker? That we die in an apocalyptic oblivion?
Yeah.
It's just like when we're all scorched into the fucking earth, you can like come up from your shadow ground and be like, yeah, all right, you were right.
I mean, absolutely.
Like, at what point do you give in?
It's gonna fucking get worse and worse, and it's gonna force the issue, and we're gonna see horrific things in our life. We've already seen some things, and we're just getting started. And it's not just climate change; it's a much broader ecological strain.
Yeah.
Climate change is just merely one aspect of a broader assault on the natural world. But it's precisely through that contradiction, through that overstepping and overreaching by an immature species, then the backlash of natural catastrophes, and then having to problem solve, because humans are nothing if we're not adaptable problem solvers. We know our ancestors lived through the fucking ice age and shit. So it's through that process, that back and forth, that push and pull of us in the natural world, that we will, if we survive, come to greater wisdom and a healthier, balanced relationship with the natural world. And we'll learn the lesson harshly, right? We're not proactive, we're reactive. We don't just be like, hey, the science says this, maybe we should get our shit together. Okay, we'll get our shit together. No. It's like, okay, now this fucking city burned down and this heat wave is fucking insane and this fucking city's now underwater and this whole area of cropland is destroyed by drought. Like, okay, we got to figure something out. And then we'll fucking do something about it, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally, the way what I've always believed in any context of life is that people do not change until they have to.
Yeah.
Like, until the pain of staying the same outweighs the fear and pain of change. And the thing
until
is,
the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of all the change. Nice.
Metaphysical, spiritual. Okay, so, no, but what's terrifying though about nature, like if you read about like certain populations and stuff, I've been reading a lot.
God, this motherfucker reads.
I'm telling you, Creatures and People coming out 2026. No. But I
got a book too I'm writing we could talk about here in a second.
All right, sweet.
When we're done talking about you, of
do
course.
That now.
When we're done talking about you, of course.
All right, spiritual. But no, seriously, what's so terrifying though about nature and the ecosystem and all that type of stuff is that what will happen is people always imagine stuff as something that's like a pile of marbles or nuts or something, and you're just we're taking some shit, we got to do something to replenish it. The problem is with like ecosystems and stuff is that it will be fine, then it just crashes.
Absolutely.
And it's when it starts crashing, it's past the point of no return a lot of times. Like there's so many species where it's just fine. We didn't realize the shit, like one migratory like season, one just sort of famine-y thing that happens, and it just crashed like 80% in a year. Yeah. And it happens that way, like this tipping point so often that the problem is a lot of people look at it as a problem of like, okay, it's going to continue this way, so the measures we need to take needs to like make up 10% that we're losing each year. But it's no, there's just going to be 1 year where it's like 70% goes down. Yeah. And then it'll be to like the death spiral because it won't be able to sustain itself. And like,
yeah, it's not a linear process.
Yes. And that's the one thing that really, you talk about if we survive it. That's the one thing that does scare me, is because it doesn't work with how the human brain, like that idea of a linear trajectory, it does not work that way for a lot of, like, that's how a lot of species went extinct, is because they were all right, they were kind of slowly going down, and then just, they're gone.
Yeah, absolutely.